Hello you guys, welcome back to the channel. So I just got off work, so my hair's a little funky, but I'm going to do this video today because why not? I'm just going to do it. I've been kind of gathering all this information. So some of these things are things that I have picked up from doing a little bit of research, from learning from other people. Others of them have just been my own experience. And so today what I want to talk about is how to save as much as possible at the grocery store without losing your sanity and without investing a ton of time. Because none of us have enough sanity or time. So here we go. So the first point I want to make is not to be brand loyal. Like, I know that I'm not going to buy like the off-brand of Ritz crackers, but other things I don't mind. Like, say creamy mushroom soup, for example, or sometimes different oat milks, that kind of stuff. But if we can get it for a good discount and it's a heck of a lot cheaper to get something that is either an off-brand or not necessarily the brand we normally would get, let's try it out. Maybe don't stock up on that item, but trying it out and seeing if it's something that we could incorporate into our normal shopping list that would save us a few bucks, let's do it. The next one is trying other protein sources. If you are a beef person, maybe trying more chicken, or fish, or some sort of, canned meat might be cheaper. Or, there's always beans and lentils and, plant-based versions also, which apparently, according to different sources online, that's becoming a thing. So maybe lessening the amount of meat we're having and making that more of a side dish rather than a main dish. I think that would be a super saver for so many of us. So buying in bulk is another one that is so cost effective. Now, I don't mean just Costco buying in bulk, not necessarily that kind of bulk, that too, if you're going to use it all up before it goes bad. But also, hold on here. This is also what I meant by buying out of the bulk section. So like, for example, instead of, see this onion soup mix, instead of buying a whole bunch of those little Lipton onion soup boxes that are like $3 now, instead of that, I bought all of that for about the price of 1.5 of those boxes, and you saw that jar. That's what I mean. Seeing how, what the cost difference is between buying in the bulk section, and it's less packaging and all of that, rather than buying it already packaged. And I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised when you actually do the math. The difference is crazy. It's very interesting. If you've ever done that and you want to share about it, definitely leave that down in the comments. So another tip is to shop alone. The reason I say that is because sometimes when your spouse is with you, your partner, whoever, the kids, they wind up not necessarily wanting to stick to the list as much as you do. So if you're going to have people with you, say your kids, for example, and they're like, oh, Mom, I really want to get this, blah, blah, blah. Make sure that you have your no on. Nope, you see it on this list? No, you don't. Which means we're not getting it. If it didn't make it to the list, it's not that important. We're going to wait till next week. Maybe it'll make it on next week's list. If it's not, we're not getting it then either. Anyway, say no. Just shop by yourself. That way you don't even have the issue. Speaking of a list, make sure you make one. And I mean, really write down everything you need. Kind of sit down, figure out what you're going to need for next week. All of the different things we have coming up. Cheer practice, you have a doctor's appointment, all of that stuff. And then figure out what kind of dinners or what kind of lunches, etc., you're going to need for that week. And then go through your house and shop your house before you make that list. But making the list is so important. Plus, then you have something to tell the kids and your husband, it's not on the list, we can't get it, sorry. The next tip, very next one, is kind of reframing how we think of our meal times. A lot of what we think of in this country, in America, that's where I'm at, a lot of the way that we think of breakfast, lunch, and dinner has been completely from marketing. So let me tell you this. So at our house, a lot of times what we do for dinner, which seems kind of out there, but it works for us, is we'll figure out what we have in the fridge that we need to use. Maybe some cucumbers, maybe an avocado, maybe, whatever that happens to be. We got some bananas on the counter, all of that kind of stuff. We will put that all out and make kind of like a little cheese and crackers, veggie, board thing. That is my niece's, who she lives with me. That is her favorite thing to have for dinner. And it's probably better for us than anything we're going to make. It's probably better for us than the pastas and the breads and the heavy meats, all of that stuff. So that's what I'm saying. Just kind of rethinking what has to be for dinner. Do you have to have a meat, a vegetable, and a starch? Maybe you have just a bunch of vegetables and fruit and a little bit of a protein. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying, rethink it. Rethink what could be for dinner. Could you have breakfast for dinner? That's another one of our absolute faves. Along kind of this same line is actually buying groceries that you're going to eat, like for your real life, not like your fantasy life where you're, thinking you're going to eat all of these herbs and vegetables and fruit and all of that kind of stuff. And then you never eat them, but you keep buying them over and over and over. I know this because I did this with cilantro for a whole year. So buy things that you will eat, that your family likes, and that are going to get used. For the things that your family uses all the time, like staples, when you buy them, make sure to buy some for now and some for later, because the way prices are going up right now, what it is this week is pretty much a sale price, whether it's legit a sale price or not, because next week it's going to be up. So in investing in things that you actually are going to use, that you'll go through, there's no chance they're going to go bad, it is perfect. And having a little bit extra, maybe, quite a bit extra, whatever, is such a good thing for peace of mind. If, anything goes wrong, job loss, etc., whatever. It's always good to have more than enough than not enough. So this one might be a little interesting for people. I go to one store. I know the cheapest store in my area. I go to that one. I don't go to several stores. Remember at the beginning, whenever I was talking about saving time and sanity? I go to the cheapest store in my area, and they have pretty much everything I need. I just go to that store. So for one, I'm not paying $6 a gallon for gas, going all around town, going to all these stores. But also, the other thing, the time savings is incredible. But on top of that, there's every single time you go into a store, you are upping your chances of buying stuff that you don't need. And maybe you have an iron will, and if that's the case and you have the time, do it. Go get all of those awesome deals, whatever. But if you are short on time and you just don't have the patience for it, go to one store. Absolutely. The chances are, even if you were to go to a more expensive store, the amount of money that you would save from, even though it's more expensive, as far, just shopping at the one more expensive store, than going to several of, the other stores and getting all of these sales, chances are you're probably saving money because you're not doing impulse purchases at every single one of those stores. Okay, Does anybody use Fetch Rewards or anything like that? So this one, some people are going to disagree. I think that you shouldn't even look at those apps or even really at the ads for the grocery stores until after you've already made your list. The reason I say that, yes, it's important to get sales. I get that. That you're right, and it's important. However, Fetch Rewards, for example, it tells you all the things that they have, right now that they'll give you all these points for and whatever. And a lot of times we wind up buying things specifically to get X amount of points, or they'll give us this amount of cash back for this, or whatever happens to be, depending on the app we're in. And we wind up buying things that we don't need just to get those points. It's very similar to couponing. Same scenario. You buy all of these things with all of these coupons just to use the coupons, not because you needed them. Therefore, it wasn't really saving you any money. Another thing you can do is make sure you never go to the grocery store hungry. I don't know about you, but when I get hungry, I get a little bit irritable, which isn't good for anybody. And the other issue with going hungry is that you're going to wind up buying so much more stuff because the chips are going to look, anything that is readily available where you can just have it right now is going to look fabulous. So you're going to go home with a whole bunch of snacks, a whole bunch of drinks, and that's going to be it. Another point I wanted to make, going along with the saving time, saving sanity thing, is I know, there's people out there that say you should only spend X amount of money if your family's this big, blah, 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 whatever it happens to be. You can only spend $100 per whatever. They're not the ones paying your bills. You decide what you spend on groceries. And you decide what your family can afford, what they're going to eat, what your budget is. It's personal finance. It's all about personal. So you're the one that decides how much you're going to spend, whether or not you're going to go to 3 different stores, all of that stuff. You decide it. If you want to spend $1,200 on groceries, that's up to you. If you want to spend $300 on groceries, also up to you. My point with this is, you do what's perfect for your family, what saves your time and what saves your sanity. That's the important part. So I hope these are helpful, you guys. And if you liked it, give me a thumbs up and I will see you in the next video. All right, bye.